What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Casey with Razor Sharp Productions, and in today's video we're going to be going over the Sigma 14 to 24mm 2.8 DGDN art lens for Sony E mount full frame cameras. Now I've only had this for a couple of days, but the last couple of shoots that I've done with it, I have been extremely impressed. So I wanted to do a quick little review for anybody out there who's trying to find a wide angle lens for their Sony E mount cameras. We're going to go into detail on this, but right off the bat, highly recommend it, especially if you can afford the price tag. So first off, I'm just going to go over the build really quick. Initial thoughts when I first unpacked it. It feels really good in the hands. It is a little bit bigger, but I do have bigger hands, so it kind of fits well in my palm. If you're not a fan of the bigger lenses, you might not want to do this because it weighs in about 40.2 grams, little under 2 pounds. I do have the 24 to 72.8, and that is a lot heavier than this guy, but this does feel really good in the hand. It has the full metal casing. It is weather sealed. It's of course not waterproof, but it is water resistant, so if you want to take it out in some rain, or if there's some splashes from a river that you're trying to take pictures of, it should do pretty well and hold up in that moisture. The zoom ring and the focus ring are very smooth. They feel great. The zoom is amazing. So when I'm trying to do stuff for my videos and I want to do a nice slow zoom, I don't have to necessarily move my whole body. I can use the zoom ring and it gives me a really smooth movement. Over on the side, you do have the autofocus manual focus lock, and then you do have the custom AFL button over there on the side, so you can customize that how you'd like. Unfortunately, we do have the built-in lens hood. It is plastic while the rest of it is metal, and it does have that little beer belly on the front, so you can't screw in any ND filters. But the cool part about this is it's got a little back to it, so you can put in tiny gel filters. I bought a 4-pack of those on Amazon for $100, super cheap. I will say that is one downside to this, that I have to constantly take off the lens to put in a new filter, but to me that's okay. I'm willing to take that lens off really quick and put that filter in there if I need to. With me shooting a lot of live concerts and a lot of live shows in that dark lighting, I honestly don't need the filters, so it's rare that I personally am going to be using those filters, but it is nice that they have the option since you don't have the screw-on ND filter on the front of the hood. One thing that I don't like about the beer belly of the lens, for some reason this attracts dust like nobody's business, so just make sure that you have a microfiber cloth or a lens pen or something to wipe off that dust, especially if you're shooting in a higher aperture for landscape or architectural photography. You'll actually be able to see the specks of dust on the lens. So just make sure that every time you start shooting, just to give it a quick little blow or wipe down to make sure that it's good to go. The other big downside to this, unfortunately, is that it does have a decent price tag. At the time of making this video, it was about $1,300 US, so it is a hefty price tag, but again, I feel like you get what you pay for with this lens. Right now I'm going to show you a couple test shots with photo and video just to show you the capabilities of this lens. When shooting at 2.8 wide open aperture, the bokeh on this is beautiful. It's very simple, very light. There's very little barrel distortion, pretty much no chromatic aberrations, which is really great. And any sort of beveling or corners that you're having problems with, Lightroom actually does a pretty good job at fixing that up. I found that Lightroom seems to think that this lens has more of a vignette than it actually does, so that's one thing that I kind of have to work around, but I'm able to move around the sliders and the settings to get what I want, and I think that is perfect. So I think this is a great lens for interior, exterior. When I was using it in a show last night, it was awesome. The low light capabilities of this is incredible. That 2.8 is wide open. The autofocus is incredible. I honestly had no problems with tracking. It locked onto my subject pretty much every single time. I never had to redo my focus ring, and especially in the low lighting situations for the concert photography, this is amazing for that, and I think this is going to be key for anybody who's wanting to get into concert photography. It gives you a 114-degree field of view, which is that ultra wide feel on those full frame cameras. I shoot in a lot of clubs and smaller spaces, so to have this, to be able to get pretty much everything that I need into the shot, I think it is totally worth it. Alright, so we're doing a vlog test right now, and initial thoughts, this is so much better than my Sigma 24 to 72.8. It is a little bit lighter, so it's easier to hold. I even have the battery pack on my Sony A7 III, and with this lens, that and a shotgun mic on top, this is definitely a lot easier to hold. And I'm only about a little over a foot away from my face, so it's easier to hold it just because my elbow's a little bent and I can kind of, use my bicep and not just straight up on my shoulder. So I'm gonna do a little walking for you. A little bouncy, but nothing too crazy. Again, you can fix that in post, but I think I'm gonna be using this for my vlog lens from now on because this is awesome. Look at. Some of my final thoughts for this lens: it is incredible. It is a ultra wide angle lens, so especially if you're doing stuff like what we're doing is in the clubs and the smaller spaces, this is honestly going to be perfect in your arsenal. The autofocus is very quiet, it is on point, so if you're trying to do video, this is going to be amazing for those. I can't wait to use it in a music video to see what it can do. It almost gives it a fisheye kind of feel to it, but again, you can remove a lot of that in post-processing. So if you worry about any distortion or chromatic aberration, this is very, very minimal, and you can fix pretty much anything that you have problems with in that area. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you learned a lot. We hope that this can give you some insight on the next wide angle lens that you're gonna buy for your own equipment. If you want more and wanna follow us on our journey and get some more insider tips on how to become a photographer or videographer, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit those notifications, turn those bad boys on so that we make sure that you get to us every single Monday at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see y'all later.